pre-calculus period A, Wednesday, August, is it the 24th? 24th, thank you.
What's up, guys?
What's
up, guys?
Okay, guys, let's quiet down, please. Let's quiet down. So I'm going to leave these here just so you know that they're important. And then let's get going on those notes. So solve with the quadratic formula. So I'm on page, still have page numbers on it. I'm on page 7. Right, I'm on page 7. Page 7 on the notes, this is heading 4, part A. Okay? What are we on? B, okay. So let's start on part B. We get x times the quantity x plus 5 equals 13. What do I want to do first? I'm going to distribute my x, right? I got to get this in standard form. What does standard form mean again? Yes. So we have an x squared term, an x term, and a constant term, and they're all on one side of the equation. So I'm actually going to have a 0 on one side. So I'm going to have x squared plus 5x minus 13 equals 0. Okay? Which number? So when I use my quadratic formula, I think Silas said it. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Which number right here is my a? What's my a going to be equal to? 1. What's my b? 5, right? That's the number next to x. What's my c? Negative 13, yeah. So let me plug everything in here, okay? So I have x equals the opposite of b. What's b? B is 5. So the opposite of b is negative 5. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. What's b? It's 5. So 5 squared. Minus 4 times a. What's my a? It is 1. 4 times 1 times c. C is negative 13. And all over 2 times a. What's a? 1. So 2 times 1. All right. You good with that? All right. I told my Algebra 1 kids last year the best way, I think the easiest way to start crunching these numbers, they were really afraid of it. It doesn't sound like you guys are as afraid of it. They were like terrified of it when I introduced it to them. So I like to do these 3 numbers right here. Just do these 3 multiplications, and then that makes our life a lot easier. So 5 squared is what? 25. So I crunch that number, plug it in. What's 4 times 1 times negative 13? Negative 52, so I'm going to have a minus negative 52, which is just plus positive 52. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay? I'm going to add the numbers that are inside this square root symbol. So negative 5 plus or minus 25, that's what, 77?
Yeah.
All over 2. Okay. So my final answer is negative 5 halves plus or minus the square root of 77. You guys feel okay about that?
We don't put the square root of 77
Oh my gosh. You do. Over 2.
So do we have to even separate out?
I'd accept either of these.
We can just leave it.
Yeah, it's not a terrible habit to get into though, to split your numerators up. It's not a terrible habit. All right, and then so what do I need to make sure I've done to have this in simplest form reduced all the way? What do I need to check? Yeah, so negative 5 has that simplified all the way. Yeah, and this other one, is this simplified? Yeah, because 77 doesn't have any perfect square factors. It's just 11 times 7, which are both primes. I don't have any pairs here. Right, the reason I said it might be a good idea to start splitting your numerators is if this square root does have any perfect square factors and you can simplify it, sometimes you can rewrite it in a way such that it cancels out the denominator. So, yeah. So if we had if this was I don't know, square root of, 2 times 2 times 7, what's that, 28? This really, square root of 28 over 2. I could rewrite that as the square root of 4 times the square root of 7 over 2, which is 2 root 7 over 2, which is root 7. Okay, yes, does that illustrate my point well? Okay. All right, let's do part C. Part C, I have x squared minus 7x plus 5/4 equals 0. What's my a here? What's my a, Kate?
1.
Good, yeah. Then Reese, what's my b?
-7.
-7. And Ian, what's my c? You know what my c is? So c is the number over here that doesn't have a variable on it. So what is it here? 5/4, yeah. Alright. So I just need to plug these all in, okay? So I have x equals the opposite of b. What's the opposite of b? B is -7, so what's the opposite of -7? +7, yeah. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, so -7. Okay guys, one mistake I don't want people to make is when I plug in -7 squared, what do I need to remember to do? So I need to put -7 in parentheses, and then write this square on the outside of those parentheses, okay? Let's make sure we do that when we're plugging in negative numbers and squaring them, okay? And -4 times a, what's my a? It's 1. What's my c? It's 5/4. It's all over 2 times my a, which is 1, okay? So again, I like to start these 3 products right here. Just calculate those. So we get 7 plus or minus the square root of -7 squared, what's that? 49. 4 times 1 times 5/4, what's that? 4 times 1 times 5/4. Yeah, it's 5. It's 5, and then all over 2. Okay. Then I do my subtraction inside my square root symbol. So I get 7 plus or minus the square root of 44 all over 2. So I have x equals 7 plus or minus the square root of 44 all over 2. Okay. What can I do? Can I simplify this at all? What can I simplify? By 44, right? Do we know how to simplify the square root of 44? How to rewrite that? Yeah, so it'd be 2 times the square root of 11, right? So we can rewrite this as root 4 times root 11, which is 2 root 11. Okay, so I'm going to write this as 7 plus or minus 2 root 11 all over 2. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah.
Could you simplify it for like 2? Leave it like 7 over 2 and then.
So you want me to like?
minus 11.
Oh yeah, you could do that. You could rewrite it as 7 halves plus or minus root 11. You can do that. Yeah.
Would you take off?
If you did, no, I wouldn't. Not for this one. 7 has, you can't factor a 2 out of 7, so I wouldn't take off. Okay. All right, heading 5, more solve graphically with calculators, okay? Are you guys okay if I do this in Desmos, or you guys want to follow along with me on my calculator? Okay, I'll illustrate with Desmos. Let's try to follow along on the calculator though. Okay. Let's try to follow along on the calculator. If you don't know how to use that calculator, now's the time. When it's on the office hours, I can show you. Alright guys, so I'm looking at page 7 still. I'm looking at 5A, solve graph calculator. What's that equation there? Can someone read that off for me?
Absolute value is 2x minus 1 equal to x squared.
Equals x squared. So in our calculator, we do this, right? We go to y, hit the y equals button. For absolute values, you know how you get to absolute value on your graphic calculator?
Second, alpha.
Alpha window. Thank you, Bruce. We did,
I guess
oh yeah, it's right there. Good job. So the way I've always done it, that's a really good shortcut. The way I do it is I hit the math button and I scroll over with my arrows to num, and then that first one that says adds, one adds.
like hit alpha, the green one, and then
Yeah. Either way works though.
the green
Alpha
one.
window.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put 2x minus 1 in there, and then I'm gonna plot that as one curve. The other curve's gonna be x squared. Okay. I'm gonna hit graph.
How do you get this? How would you do it? Equals
On your graphic calculator, you have to, what you have to do is you have to plot the left side and the right side as two different functions. And this one got messed up something. Oh. Okay, guys, so you can see here, I've got an intersection right over here. Okay, so what's the x value of that intersection? You guys see on this? So what's the x value of my intersection? Negative 2.41, right? You guys understand that? We've seen that. How do you guys know how to do it on your graphic calculator? Second calc. When I do second calc, I'm going to scroll with my cursor to the left. Left of that intersection, and my cursor. Right, yeah, Silas.
How do you make the absolute value in
Alpha.
alpha windows?
So I get negative 2.41 for that first intersection. And then, are there any other intersections?
It might be different.
Any other intersections if we see? What about right here? You guys see this? Got an intersection right here. So I'm gonna hit second calc on my calculator, and then the intersection. We go to the left of that intersection, to the right of that intersection. X equals 0.41. Okay, that's kind of hard to see. Anyone think that's hard to see that intersection on your calculator? Yeah, so here's a little trick we can do. So if it's hard to see where there might be another intersection, right, so let's go to white, let's go to the graph, right? I just got my regular. Right, I just got my graphs out, my two graphs out. Let's hit second, or let's just hit the window button, or hit the zoom button, sorry. Hit the zoom button. You guys see the top Z box? Z box.
Where does catalog?
Z box. Yeah, so just like Z box, and you can actually it lets you draw a box around like a small part of the graph that you can't see as well. So you can hit enter. It's kind of like an etch-a-sketch. It lets me use the arrow keys to draw a little box, and I can hit enter. It'll zoom in more closely. You can see there's an intersection. Okay. So Z box is what we're gonna want to do for this stuff that it's hard to see. Your graphic pattern on it. Okay. One, get it in charge here now. Let's get the batteries. Yeah. All right, and then is there any other intersections? Yeah, so I hit Z box. So hit enter. Okay, we're just talking. Right, and then you can actually like draw, hit enter, and then start scrolling over to your screen, like let's draw a box.
It's in the bottom.
Yeah.
It's something in second, 0.
Yeah.
See it now?
See that?
Sorry, I just saw catalog.
That's a lot easier to see, right? Okay, so then it looks like I've got one more. Oh, right there. Next to there. where they're like, they kind of like barely, they look like they barely touch over here? Looks like they do intersect at 1, x equals 1. So we write down those 3x values where they intersect. Negative 2.41 was 1. This one was 0.41. This third one is x equals 1.
You said 0.4.
Yeah. Negative 2.41 up here. We lost on how to find intersections with our graphic calculators. Okay. So are you guys okay if I move on to the next one? Okay, so let's do x cubed plus x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. So x cubed plus x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. This one's not too bad. You guys see it on Desmos? Try graphing with your graphing calculator. X cubed x squared 2x 3. Alright. If your Windows messed up from doing the last problem, you can hit zoom and then go down to Z standard, and that'll bring you to like the regular negative 10 to 10. So where's my 1 intersection?
3, 2, 3.
So that's where we want to see where this curve intersects with y.
0.84.
Should we be confused about which intersection we're looking for? So we want to see where these two curves intersect. We want to see where the red curve, my x cubed curve, intersects with the x-axis, the horizontal axis, y equals 0. See, we're not looking for the vertical axis intersection. Are we confused why?
You say it again?
Yeah, so we're interested in where it intersects with the horizontal axis. Right, because this is y equals 0. We're not interested in this. This intersection, the intersection with the vertical axis, is what we get when we plug in 0 for x. I'm not interested in that. I want to know what happens when my whole function, that whole x cubed function, equals 0. I want to know what value of x we plug in to get that. What'd you guys find for that one? Yeah, 0.843, 0.843, okay?
So the answer to that would just be like 0.843 section.
Yeah, x equals 0.843. Yeah. Because we're solving graphically, right? So we just want explicit values for x. So where are you getting that? Oh, window range. Okay. Hit zoom. Okay, hit quit. And then hit zoom. 6 standard. So hit 6. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Are we okay to move on to the next one? Alright, next one is, thank you, absolute value.
X plus 1 equals 2x minus 3.
2x minus 3. Alright guys, so we see this one on Desmos, graphic calculator, that practice in. So it should be fairly straightforward. What do I get for my x?
4.
The intersect at x equals 4, okay? Give us a couple seconds to try that out. Did we all get a chance to do that and find it on our calculator? Alright, are you guys okay if I move on to the next one? No, okay. Alright, let's move to the next one, okay? So, no?
Sorry, I'm just being really slow there.
Alright. I think most of us are even on. If you're having trouble with this, Alright, so what's the next one?
X plus 2 minus 2 root x plus 3.
Nice. Okay, so my first curve equals y, and then y equals 0. So the way I'm going to handle this one, guys, I'm going to graph the left side is one function in my calculator, and then the right side is a function in my calculator. And then you see the intersection here.
Yeah, 2.83.
Yeah, 2.83, I'll accept that answer. Alright guys, how we feel about that? We feel okay? Hey guys, we're gonna skip the book problems now. We're gonna skip those book problems. Alright guys, let's move on to 7, okay? We're gonna move on to heading 7. Let's move on to heading 7, please. Heading 7. So I'm on page 7. Find the center and radius of this circle. Alright, we got x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 10y equals 5. Alright, does anyone have any idea how to do this one? How do we find the center? So that's a circle. How do we find the center and radius of it? Anyone know? So does anyone remember the equation? Standard form of a circle? Is this in standard form for a circle? No, it's not. What is standard form?
X plus, wait, no, x minus x1 squared plus y minus y2 and then squared plus r2.
Yeah. So we need to get this to look like this somehow, right? How might I do that? Anyone have any ideas? You don't have any ideas? Take these out. So I can't, there's nowhere I can put them, so I can't just take them out. Like, we'd like subtract them to the other side or something. Yeah, I think you're on, yeah. I could try that. Not gonna get me in the right direction. Jamie, you have an idea?
You can do like backwards, you can do like x, y, distributed property x, y minus 2.
So you guys are all on the right track. So, right, I need to get these terms written as a binomial squared plus a binomial squared. Where else have we done that? Where else have we seen that? Factoring, so it's a type of factoring.
Grouping.
So where do we do that in this packet? Completing the square. So we're going to complete the square. This time we do it with our x's and our y's. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm just going to reorder the terms. So I'm going to write x squared minus 8x plus y squared plus 10y equals 5. Okay?
So you just shuffle it around.
I just reordered the terms, right? So I want to complete the square with these two terms and these two terms, right? So completing the square means I have x squared minus 8x plus something, and I can rewrite that as x minus 4 quantity squared. So I got to figure out what that something is. What do I do? What do I add to this? What term do I need here to make it so I can rewrite these two as x minus 4 quantity squared? What do we do with completing the square with quadratics? What do we do? Divide by 2 and square, right? Which one am I going to divide by 2 and square? Yeah, the one that's next to x, I'm going to divide by 2 and square. What do I get when I do negative 8 divided by 2 squared? That's 16, right?
Negative 4 squared.
Yeah, so we get 16. Right, so I'm going to add x squared minus 8x plus 16. And I'm going to do the same thing with my y's. So what am I going to add over here?
25.
So divide by 2 squared, add 25. So what did I add to the left side overall? I added 16 and 25, right? So what do I have to add to the right? Yeah, 16 and 25. So plus 16. 5 plus 16 plus 25. What is that? That 46. 46.
16 plus 25 is 41.
Yeah, and then I have the 5 plus 5. Yeah. All right, so now I have these three terms and these three terms. I can rewrite these. All right, so what are my first three terms? What do they become? What do I rewrite those as? Anyone know?
X.
X minus 4. X minus 4 quantity squared plus, how do I rewrite my three y terms? Y plus 5 quantity squared. Right, and that all equals 46. Okay, am I in standard form? Yeah, just about. Right? We gotta make sure we interpret everything correctly. All right, so right, so we're comparing these two. What's the x coordinate for my center? What's that?
Negative. Positive.
Positive 4, right? So minus, it's minus my x, what my x term is, if that makes any sense, yeah. So 4 is my center, 4 comma what?
5.
Not 5. This is a y plus 5, right? So it should be y minus negative 5. So 4 negative 5 is my center. What's my radius?
No, square root 46.
2116.
2116?
Yeah, so we do 46 squared.
So
Or is it root 46?
46, do you guys see how 46 equals r squared?
Oh, so,
Right, the number, the constant term that's on the right side is the radius squared. So I take the square root of this number. So root 46. Okay. Be confused by that? Be confounded? Is anyone bewildered? Is that? All right, so I don't know where I put my notes key. That's okay. Oh, I put it right there. Okay. Confused on that one? We at least follow it. I might not have been able to just do it on your own, but we at least follow it, what I did. All right, let's go on to part B. Okay. We get x squared plus y squared plus 4x plus 6y minus 10 equals 0. Equals 0. guys, what do you guys want me to do first? Any ideas?
Plus 10.
Yeah, I kind of recommend getting this 10 over here, just make my life easier. Get this 10 on the right side, and then let's make sure we write our x terms together and our y terms together. So we're going to x squared plus 4x. I'll leave space for that other number I'm going to add on. Y squared plus 6y, leave some space, equals 10, okay? All right, I group my x terms together, I put my y terms next to each other. Anyone know what number I'm going to add right here?
4.
Yeah, so I took the number next to x, which is 4, I divided it by 2, that gives me 2, and then I squared that, and that gives me 4. So I'm going to add a 4 over here, right? So I'm going to add a 4 on the left and a 4 on the right.
9.
What about right here? Yeah, so I'm going to take 6, divide it by 2, that gives me 3. 3 squared is 9, so I'm going to add 9 right here. So I'm going to add 9 on the right. So when you think completing the square, when I say complete the square, or you see it on a test or a quiz, think divide by 2 and square it, divide by 2 and square it, divide by 2 and square it, divide by 2 and square it. Right? So I get these 3 terms, and these 3 terms can be rewritten. What can these 3 terms, what can my 3x terms be rewritten as?
X minus 2.
Plus 2. So I think we're having some trouble seeing this. So when I have my 3 terms here, when I rewrite them as 2 terms added together, quantity squared, or subtracted squared, all I'm doing is I'm taking this plus 4, the number that's next to my x, and I'm dividing that by 2. So I'm writing x, and then whenever this one is divided by 2, quantity squared.
But why is it positive? Why is it positive?
Because I have a positive 4 next to my x. I have a positive 4 next to my x.
Oh, yeah, it's negative 2.
So when I divide positive 4 by 2, I get positive 2. Right? Add on to that, what can you write y squared plus 6y plus 9 as? Yeah, y plus 3 quantity squared, right? And that all equals 23, right? So I have, what's my center, what's my radius? 2, so it's going to be negative 2, negative 3. Yeah, so negative 2, negative 3. Does anyone not see why it's negative 2 and negative 3? Then my radius is the square root of this number on the right. Yeah. Yeah, so it's yeah. I think I know, like, when you're looking at these. Yeah, it's the opposite of the number that's in here. The opposites of the numbers that are in here. Alright? Yeah.
I have to all the way until the last part, but why is it 23 and not negative 3? Isn't it 4 plus 9 positive? And plus 4 plus 1.
You're at, so you're going to take the numbers that you added on here.
So we added a 4 on the left and a 9 on the left, and we had a 10 over here. 10 plus 4 plus 9. What's that?
Why, so you're going to the other side, why is it not subtraction?
No, so I added 4 and I added 9. So if I add 4 to the left side of an equation, I have to add 4 to the right side. Yeah. Okay? Are you guys okay with that? Okay. So I think that finishes P5, right? When do I see you guys again? Tomorrow, guys. Okay, guys, so tomorrow I want the P5 homework. P5 homework for tomorrow, okay? P5 homework for tomorrow. What's that? What's that? P5? Alright, I'm not going to work on the P5 homework right now, okay? Try it on your own, and then, like, if you stop doing it. Solve with the calculator, so you solve brackets. Yeah, just, you know how to do it. So we were doing that earlier in class. Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll catch you up. I'm recording this lecture too.
Because I looked on the other class.
Oh yeah, I've been terrible at posting. That's my fault. Yeah.
I'll just do it later.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get back into that habit. Okay, so P5 homework for tomorrow. Let's start on P6. So I'm on P6 of the packet. What page is that? I'm on P6. Right, I'm on page 7. We're doing some complex values, complex numbers, okay? So what does the directions say? Z1 is what? 3 plus 2i. What's Z2? 4 minus 5i. So what's Z1 plus Z2 going to be?
3 plus 2i.
So we get 3 plus 2i plus 4 minus 5i, right?
7 minus 3.
What does that give you? 7 minus 3i?
Yeah.
Alright, straightforward enough. No one confused on that one. Okay, so I'm just combining like terms. I'm combining like terms. What about Z1 minus Z2? Okay, 3 plus 2i minus, then in parentheses, guys, make sure when we're doing minus subtraction, we include our parentheses, okay? Make sure we include our parentheses around the numbers we're plugging in. That makes our life a lot easier to prevent mistakes happening.
Do we make the I into how it's I squared equals -1?
Yeah.
Do we leave the I as it is?
Yeah, just leave it as it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this becomes 3 minus 4 plus 2i plus 5i. When I distribute the negative, that gives me -1 plus 7i. Okay. 3 times z1. 3 times z1. How do I do that one?
3 times 1.
So I do 3 and then in parentheses my z1. Yeah. Keep that. Distribute. That gives you 9 plus distribute 6i. 9 plus 6i. Part D, z1 times z2. z1 times z2. How do I do that? So I put in my parentheses z1, 3 plus 2i, 4 minus 5i, and I just FOIL. I'm just going to FOIL these, okay? So first, 3 times 4 is 12. Outer, 3 times minus 5i is minus 15i. Inner, 2i times 4 is plus 8i. Last, minus 10i squared. What's minus 10i squared?
Negative 10.
Negative, so this is minus 10 times I squared.
I wrote my sign wrong.
Yeah, so it's going to be minus 10 times -1, which is plus positive 10.
I squared C was negative.
Yeah, I squared is -1. Combine my like terms, guys, I get 22 minus 7i. Minus 7i. And I'll do part E over here. Part E over here. Alright, so for part E, I had Z1 over Z2. Alright, so I'm going to plug in 3 plus 2i over 4 minus 5i. Okay, anyone have any ideas why is it, how do I simplify that? Why is it not simplified yet? Right, I don't like to have square roots in my denominators, right? I don't like to have square roots in my denominators. What here is technically a square root? I, yeah. How do I get rid of that? Does anyone remember? Yeah. What's that? Yeah, I can do that. How do I do that?
Multiply by 4 plus 5.
Yes. So to get rid of this I down here, I multiply by what's called the conjugates. The conjugate of Z2. The conjugate of Z2, written Z2 star equals 4 plus 5i. So all the conjugate is I just flip the subtraction symbol to an addition symbol. Or if it were an addition symbol to begin with, I would flip the addition symbol to a subtraction symbol. So I'm going to multiply the bottom by the conjugate. What do I have to multiply the top by then? The same thing, yeah, right? Because I have to multiply, I can't change the value of this fraction. So I have to multiply the top and bottom by the same thing, and then it becomes just like my problem in part D, except on the top and the bottom. So the top becomes, we're going to FOIL 12 plus 15I plus 8I minus 10. I did that fast, so using this bottom becomes 16 plus 20I minus 20I plus 25.
Wouldn't it be 10I squared?
Yeah, so yeah, I did that fast. 2I times 5I is 10I squared. 10I squared equals minus 10. Plus negative 25. So negative 5I times positive 5I.
I didn't see his hands.
That's negative 25I squared, which is 25. So I'm going to combine my terms in the top. I get 2 plus 7I. In the bottom, my i's cancel out. Okay, so now I get rid of my i's in the bottom. I'm going to have 41 at the bottom. 23, yeah, thank you. Yep, thank you. My bad. I just took their difference instead of their sum. Guys, we make a lot of mistakes in math, okay? I make a lot of mistakes too. We gotta check our work. Check it. Okay?
How would you check your work?
With this, you just do it again. Just do the problem twice. Yeah. Just do it twice. Do it right or do it twice, yeah. Or thrice. Okay, heading 2. Heading 2. Heading 2. Heading 2. Simplify. Part A. So I got the square root of negative 16 times the square root of negative 25. What is this? What happens with this? What's the square root of negative 16? Use our i's. 4i, yep. 4i. What's the square root of negative 25? 5i, yeah. Alright. This becomes 20i squared. What's 20i squared equal to? What's 20i squared? Negative 20. Okay. Square root of negative 3 times square root of negative 15. Yeah, so I can't simplify the square root of 3, so I'm just going to pull up the I. So I get I root 3 times I root 15. That gives me I squared times root 45. Right, can I so what's I squared equal to? Negative 1, so negative, and then how can I simplify root 45? Yeah, so it's the square root of 9 times the square root of 5. So it's negative 3 root 5.
You want? Oh, I guess it would be 3i squared.
So P5 for tomorrow. P5 for tomorrow. P5 for tomorrow. What's that? No, don't take it right now because we'll need to talk about problems we'll be stuck on next time.